Disconnection. Let's talk about that. Disconnection is the number one problem in marriages. It's emotional disconnection between that availability and responsiveness that we so desperately need. And in that process, we have someone who pursues and someone who tries to put distance between. So, he won't talk to her. She's been pursuing for a while, and now she's a little exhausted, and she's trying to figure out what her next strategy is going to be. You can see that look on her face like, what am I going to do? And he's just like, I wish she would just stop talking. And he hasn't actually walked away, but if she pursues him much longer, he's likely to get up and walk away. On the other hand, sometimes it's the man who's the pursuer and the woman who's the distancer. Now, this could be at the beginning of a negative cycle, or it could be toward the end of the negative cycle. He could have been the one who was coming after her about something. And this does happen. In my experience, about 25% of the time, he would be the one that comes after her because his anxiety is high, his avoidance is low, and now he has become that person. Another likely scenario for this picture is that she has been pursuing him. He's been stonewalling her to the point where he's finally just wants her to stop talking, and she's not. So he turns on her, and now her feelings are hurt, and she is pulled away. So the cycle, you drive what one person drives what the other person does, and it's not always the same person that does it. It's a synergistic cycle where one drives the other, and any intervention at any point can make a huge difference in how the outcome of that negative cycle begins to develop and to change. If you don't do something different, it's not going to change. And that's really what I'm trying to teach you about now. Simple steps, simple solutions. I've got to tell you, they're not always easy. The first thing that we want to do, I'm just going to give you 3 quick steps. The first one is don't fall for these 2 lies. And the first one is that men are stupid. And the second one is that women are crazy. Neither one of those are true. Men are not stupid. They handle emotions differently than women do. Women are not crazy. They handle emotions differently than men do. So it has nothing to do with being stupid or crazy. It has to do with our nature and our nurture. Those critical differences in who we are from our genetics, from our DNA, and how we are treated, how we're socialized, how we're taught to be in this world is going to bring different outcomes. So that's the thing that you want to keep in mind. Don't fall for those lies. Number 2, seek wisdom, seek understanding. Because your biology and your experiences are hugely different, you need to understand what those differences are, to embrace them, to appreciate them, rather than criticize them and attack them and blame them and make fun of them. Because of your different experiences, you have a different worldview than your mate does. And that's a good thing, because that means you've got more than one perspective when you're facing an issue, you're facing a problem. And learning to work together in that is absolutely priceless in getting through life together. And that's why I think God created male and female, so we could have a partner with a totally different perspective, with a totally different way of looking at things that would help us fare better in this world. I got to say also that keep in mind, abuse and neglect are going to amplify those gender differences. And that is true for men and for women. I think it's more profoundly true for men. However, it is true for women as well. And then career can also amplify those gender differences. And the first thing that comes to my mind is military, law enforcement, and firefighters. Those particular careers are going to amplify the gender differences. When you go through that training, you've got to learn to shut off your emotions and take care of business. Life, your life, other people's lives depend on it. And so someone who works in those careers can really have a hard time in a marriage. I actually did a video about being married to a warrior. And so you might want to check that out. It's here on YouTube too. I'll put the link down below. And then finally is that you're going to choose to respond differently. You're going to choose to respond with wisdom on your side. We always have choices, no matter what happens. We have choices. We are not victims. Now, I say that, and I know there are people who are victims. I know there are people who are victims of current abuse, of current trauma. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about someone who's just not getting along with their mate. Don't take the victim mentality. There's always something you can do about it. And the first place you want to start is with wisdom. Learn as much as you can. Learn when and how to apply that knowledge to real life circumstances. It'll make life go a lot better for you.